Hey guys, welcome to my boudoir editing tutorial. So to start things off, I'd like to say that the model is Artistic Intrigue and you can follow her on Instagram. To start off the discussion though about editing, I'd like to briefly mention lighting and composition because I feel like if you have a good base to start with, then you won't hate the editing process once you get into it. So in this little nook in my house, I really enjoy using these RGB lights and some string lights and the lamp in the background. And one of the reasons I do that is that I also use a diffusion filter on the front of my lens to give everything a sort of soft, hazy look right out of camera. And that kind of goes with the theme that I have when I'm doing boudoir edits, which is sort of a soft light, ethereal, fun look. And I think that the colored lights in the background add a lot of fun to the image as well, without being overly distracting from the model. So this is Capture One. I don't know how many of you guys out there use this. I know that Lightroom's a lot more popular. Personally, I think that Capture One can do anything Lightroom can do, only 10 times better. It's my preferred raw processor. One of the things I like about it is that I feel like it generates more natural looking skin tones right out of the box without any kind of touching of the photo. The other thing is that the lighting adjustments that you make are a lot more natural looking in my opinion. So for instance, if I was to brighten this up or just brighten the shadows or darken the shadows or add some contrast, it just seems more natural through Capture One and less artificial like it does to me through Lightroom. So looking at this photo, there's already some natural vignette to this, and one of the reasons is that the Octobox, the parabolic Octobox, is fairly deep, and it's also feathered, so we're not getting a whole lot of light spill on the ground. And then where it is sort of spilling over, there's already a light source, such as with the lamp. So I do want to enhance the vignette effect a little bit, though. I find that most people overuse the vignette though, so you'll kind of see how I do it, which isn't a different technique, it's just a different sort of level. All right, so the first thing I'll do is come to my exposure and just brighten this up a tad. Okay, I like that. Now I'll come over to the vignette and just drop that down a little bit and take it very subtle. There we go. Okay, so that's really the only thing I plan on doing in Capture One. Some other images, I'll do more of the color toning work there, but there's a fun add-on that I have in Photoshop that I'm going to use this time as we go through this tutorial. All right, so now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to export it. When I export from Capture One, I like to use TIFF as my format. And I know the default here says 8-bit, but I change it to make sure that I'm exporting at 16-bit uncompressed sRGB. Okay. Great. Now it's exported, and I'll come over here. Adding some space in case I have to cut this. Adding some more space. Okay, so now I'm in my YouTube edits folder. I'm going to go ahead and open this in Photoshop. Great. Okay, so now that we're in Photoshop, the first thing that I'm going to do is use my patch tool and go around and just sort of take care of anything that pops out at me. I'm lucky Marissa has really great skin, so this won't take long. One of the other benefits of putting one of the diffusion filters in the front of your lens is it does already soften up the skin a bit. And if you're wondering why I use the patch tool rather than the heal tool, is really just a matter of preference. I prefer the way that the hatch tool works versus the heel tool. Okay, and you can see here I have a hot pixel on my camera. Okay, let's just take a look. Since I saw one hot pixel, let's just take a quick look to see if we've got any others. All right, here we go. There's another one. There's another one. For some reason, I have to constantly remap my pixels with my camera. Otherwise, I start getting these hot pixels in low light situations. If you miss one or two, most people probably won't even notice, but I like to just take a minute to look for them when I can. All right, great. So now that we've got a good base taken care of with our patch tool, I'm going to go and I'm going to do a frequency separation, and I've created an action for that. If you don't know how to do frequency separation, or you don't know how to create an action, I'd recommend jumping on YouTube. There are several really fantastic videos explaining that, but I already have mine in action, so we're just going to hit play. And here are my layers. So this is one thing I do a little bit differently than a lot of people, I think, is that even though I'm against, in general, just using portraiture on things, I do like to use it on the color layer only. So we'll come over here to the Imagenomic portraiture program. And I just leave it on the strong settings. I don't really tweak anything. And then click OK. Fantastic. So we have a brand new layer with the portraiture program layer, and I like to go ahead and put an inverted mask on that. So you'll see the mask is black, which means you can't see anything that's happening on this layer. Now I'm going to use my white soft brush. Actually, you know what? It's a hard brush this time. So I'm going to come over here, 80%, perfect. And then I'm just going to go brush this effect in on her skin. And because we've only run portraiture on the color layer, we're able to protect the texture and address that separately. Now, sometimes I'll use a mixture of methods on the skin, but when it comes to boudoir edits, because I'm going to go for sort of a soft look, I'm not as concerned about protecting the highlights and shadows quite as much as I would be with either a fashion or a beauty edit. Okay, very, very subtle. I generally do at least 2 of these. So first things first is I'm going to hit Control-Shift-New, and that's going to create a blank layer. And then I'm going to copy the mask that I just used up onto that layer. And the reason I do that is so that I don't have to go through this brushing process again. So I can merge layers and go to my filter, Imagenomic portraiture again. Now, when this layer pops up, I can just take this and copy it down, and I don't have to use the brush again. Merge the layers. Let's take a look and see what we think. All right, pretty good. I would say as far as the color blending is concerned, that's pretty good. So now we're going to address any texture. So what I do here is I come to the texture layer and I duplicate it. All right, but that actually duplicates the texture. And since I want to reduce texture, I'm going to go ahead and invert this. And let me zoom in so you can see the inversion. All right, I'm going to invert it, and you'll see it creates a really soft layer. But I don't want the whole picture to look like this, so I'm going to go ahead and put a mask on it and use my brush again. This time I change it to 20%. And I just come through and hit any areas that I'd like to be a little bit softer. And I can also leave texture that I really like. Backed off. Let's go a little bit closer. There we go. Let's see how it looks. All right. Great. I like that. Go ahead and merge it. And now I'm going to do a little dodging and burning. I have already created a dodge and burn action. So I'd recommend setting one up for yourself if you haven't done that. Okay, so I'm going to come over to lighten, and this time I am going to use a soft brush. I'm going to go 2% opacity, and I'm going to drop the hardness to 0. We'll start on the face. Okay. Let's just go ahead and get under the eye a little bit. We'll hit the Cupid's bow. And a little bit of lips. This is the shadow. Okay. Let's see. Very nice. And let's go ahead and switch back over to lighten. Hit a few spots. Good. I like it. Go ahead and merge these. And now we will worry about the color. So I mentioned earlier I downloaded a fun sort of tool, and it's this infinite color panel. One of the things I like about it is the same thing they say in their commercials. If you're not sure where you're going to go with an edit, as far as color toning is concerned, you can just use this and keep pushing the button. So I usually just by default bring it down a bit in intensity, and then all you do is hit the create button, and it starts cycling through color options for you. Okay, so that was the first one, but I rarely stop at one, so we'll kind of keep pushing the button here and see what happens. Let's see what this looks like at 50%. We'll keep going. Okay, I think I like this color, but I want to add a bit more contrast just to see how it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and reselect my background image, and let's make sure that this is to black and white. And now I'm going to click my gradient map and hit reverse because I want to look like a black and white image, which this is perfect. Okay, so I'm going to change the blend mode to soft light and then change the opacity to 10%. And then you'll see the effect. It kind of gives it just a bit more contrast. So I do like that. I might even take this to 12%. Let's see. All right, that is perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and export this and we will be done. Okay, so I like to export at 2180 and at full quality. All right, guys, so that is the video. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please feel free to comment underneath it if you have any questions. Let me know if there's some other type of video you might want me to create. All right, goodbye for now.